Wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, I gotta.
Yo, it's another episode of College Couch Podcast.
What
Yes,
up, what up, what
you heard that
up?
right.
We back for another one.
Dude,
Yes,
this is
sir.
like this is episode 7, man. I can't believe how I said it last week how I felt like we it's been a while since we recorded, but now it feels weird to actually saying we're at our 7th episode. So
Right, right,
we getting
right.
through it. We making it shake, man. We getting through them. So, again, College Couch Podcast. Another beautiful week of college football. We got a lot to unpack tonight, Stacks. We got a lot to
Yes,
unpack.
we do. Yes, we do.
This. Listen, I said it. I said it on Instagram on Monday night. But I'm about to say it again. Y'all better fasten in because we got to a lot. I say a lot to unpack tonight. But we gonna start off with something different tonight. We got some news prior to Saturday night. It's regarding a head coach, and y'all probably know where I'm about to go with this. Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney made some very interesting comments after Saturday night's loss against Miami. Mind you, Miami hasn't beat Clemson since 2010. So we talking
It's been
some
a minute.
time.
It's been a
13
minute.
years, brother. 13 years. Um so post game interviews, they're kind of they're a very it can go one or two ways. It can go good, or the second way, with being in two ways, it can go bad, and there's some things that may be put uh on the bubble to the outside
Right.
world. And it definitely came in that form of the worst happening. So basically, it was basically a joke that was made, or apparently a joke that was made. A reporter asked if the team has ever employed sports psychologists to help players during a slump like they're having right now. Coach Sweeney decides to say, "We got him. He's probably on suicide watch right now."
Yeah, I think
It's not
he
funny, and I don't want to.
he was going in the right direction. I just think he chose wrong words. I think his word choice was very poor. I think he was
Very
trying to
poor.
say that everybody's stressed out right now. They've been using him a lot, you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
because their season has not been going like they wanted it to. I think that's what he was trying to say, but he was trying to
Hmm.
kind of be, make a light of the
Yeah,
situation, be funny or whatever. But swing and a miss, my brother, swing and a miss.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's very stressful. Because he hasn't had it
Hmm.
like it hasn't been a down season like this before for him at Clemson. We've come to expect a certain level of dominance
Yeah,
from Clemson. You know, but let's be real. Like I mean, Bama was a rarity. Georgia is a rarity. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has their time. Like we don't know how long it's gonna last. So why we gotta enjoy, the moments while we have them. Like like championships can come and go. Like you can have that dynasty, and y'all are winning every year. Like because Clemson was that deal. They was a favorite usually to beat Bama every year, and if they played Georgia, they might be in a favorite, or it would have been an even matchup or whatever. But now it's a little different. Like college football is changing, college sports are changing. So, coaches are having to move at a pace that is insane almost to ask someone to move at because you say you got to change with the time, but that's very hard when you've been doing something and establishing a culture a certain way for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like college football fans and fans in general kind of we want it now. Like, we want to win now, and then if we start winning, we want to keep winning. we don't realize how much of a process and how much things go through because the coach is not out there playing for the kids. Let's be honest. Like, you know, a lot goes into a program from your coordinators, from to your head coach, to your players being able to have a certain mindset. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it. So let's give Coach Sweeney some grace and understand that it's rough right now. It's rough
Mhm.
to hear all those people talking about you and you trying to like keep it light and all that is rough. So I think what he was saying was going in the right direction. Just poor choice of words may have been even stress getting to him. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that you hit it on the nail. For to have taken a loss to a team that again you haven't lost to since 2010.
right,
There's probably a wide array of emotions going through
right, right,
Coach Dabo's head. Um, you know, because you never want to take a loss like that. I mean,
right, right,
especially with the things that are going on with Miami. Just taking that loss to Georgia Tech a few weeks back.
right,
It's a lot on head coaches. It's a lot. It's a
right,
lot. It's a lot. You're having to not only maintain young adults, but you're also having to maintain a staff. You're having to maintain just your personal life, your family. It's a lot.
right,
It can definitely
right,
be a lot. So
right,
I I understand. I get it. But yeah, definitely, like you said, swing and a miss. Definitely was kind of. I think when it first came out, I was just like more so. Oh, okay. I get it, but wow, like
right, right.
I
It
think I
was
was. You try to process it. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
you're really
right,
just
right,
sitting there trying to like. Did he just say that?
right,
Like,
right, right,
and why?
right,
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, it was kind of like, okay, where do we go from here now? Like you
Right,
said it,
right,
how do how do you come back and say, like, how do you finish a press conference after a loss like that, and then you just said that. So
right.
yeah, yeah,
And let's be real. I mean, you think about these jokers is he done went through the most probably one of the most stressful losses he done endured in a while. And you got to
hmm
go talk to people. You got to
yeah,
go be in front of people's face and have all these people ask you questions. You ready to get back with your team? You don't want to hear all that. I mean,
yeah,
but still though, I mean, I don't think. Like I said, it's just bad choice of words. It's
yeah,
poor
yeah,
word choosing. Yeah,
hmm
I love Dabo. I think he's done a Drake a great job. I can't talk today.
hmm
A great job at Clemson and reestablishing them as a great program. So I mean, it's just growing pains. Just growing pains.
I agree, and yeah, I think they'll continue to move forward. I don't think his for people questioning, oh, his job is in jeopardy. No, I don't think Dabo is going anywhere for a long time. I mean, it's almost like you got to think about it. Like with Coach Saban, Coach Saban. Now that's one coach that may be having a few more years left on the table. That might be another conversation for another day. But I look at it like Dabo is really next in line for like as far as the head coach that's really at like that. I'm not saying like Dabo is like the greatest coach of all time, but he's like going to be that face. Once Saban leaves, it's him and Kirby and other coaches that have been around for a while, like leading their teams. Kind of like that. Like yeah, yeah.
He's definitely had a
It's
stellar career. He's definitely had a
yeah.
stellar
You know what I'm
career.
saying?
Because I
Like
mean,
yeah,
he got
that's
his
what I'm trying to get at.
championships. He got his W's. He's got his bowl
Exactly.
appearances. I mean, he's definitely solidified himself as one of the
hmm
top coaches to coach the game. So I mean,
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to win a championship, and it's hard to be consistently dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
it's like because you set yourself to a standard. You know, and everybody expects you to play at that standard all the time. So if you
Mm-hmm.
dip, so if you go from being great all the time to good all the time, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still good, but I'm not the level of dominance that you expect from me. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
you know, it's so many comparisons I can make, so many references I can make, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, you just have to. It's hard to have that on your back all the time. Just like you have to be great twenty four
Yeah.
seven. Every time you step on that field, you have to be completely dominant. You can't just win a game by 3 points and they say, "Oh, it's still a win." They're gonna be like, "Oh, well, what's going on with Clemson, or what's going on with Bama, or what's going on
Mm-hmm.
with Georgia?" Like, you know, like at the end of the day, it's a win. Like the whole name of the game is winning. If I go undefeated, I can win by 3 every time. I still won every game. You know, just college football is just a whole nother standard. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you have to, and I think me and you had a conversation, uh, just a few hours ago. Like, would we hold Coach Saban to the same standard if this conversation, if he would have made statements like this? Like,
right, 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 right.
how would things have been if he made statements like this? I mean, I think me and you
Well,
both agree, like, it probably would have been swept under the rug.
I've seen Saban just snap and rip a new one and
Hmm.
dismiss the media and all that type of stuff. I mean, he didn't say something like Dabo just said,
Yeah.
but it's still been like like I said, you going through these motions and stuff like that after either a loss or a game that you had a lot of miscues but you barely escaped. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to contain your emotions, and
Hmm.
that's like going to war and then having an interview about the war you just fought. You gonna be like, bro, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to talk to my team and the people I got left that still went to battle. I want to go hang out with them. I'm not trying to
Right.
be in people's face because you still could be upset. Like I've seen, like I said, I seen Saban still upset. After the
Mhm.
game. So I mean, it's just I guess it's like I said, levels. You know.
Yeah, for 100%, 100%. But yeah, that definitely, he did come back and apologize, and say, hey, just a poor choice of words like we just discussed. So moving on, hey, I wish Dabo the best with the rest of the season. But again, moving on. Let's talk about the games from Saturday. Dude, we had a great little matchup between I look at it as two cross state rivals, Ohio State and Penn State, which was
Yeah.
which was something to see. Now, before I get into this, I was debating on if I was gonna how I was gonna go about it, but I had a coworker, right, who is a Penn State grad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say who it is because I'm not gonna give you guys that luxury of knowing who it is. But I have a coworker who is a Penn State grad, and he pretty much had been back and forth about this game with a lot of us, the other coworkers did, from last week, and he said this game was gonna pretty much end within 7 points. He wasn't. He was 1 point off. So I will give it to him. He was very
Well,
close.
yeah. I mean, I could agree with that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
agree with that. I mean, based off of the way Penn State plays, Ohio State plays, and the history between them,
Hmm.
of course. I mean, I wouldn't expect it any other way. Just less
Right.
points, if
Right.
anything. So I mean, I completely agree with that. I mean, this game, the defensive battle, like it's always been like a gritty type of thing when they play
Hmm.
against each other. Like.
Yeah.
So defensively, it looked really good. Of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. stud,
Yeah.
great player. He players make plays. He every
Hmm.
time he's played Penn State, he's pretty much put up numbers like he did. This weekend. So You know,
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah.
guy like that, I mean, it makes your job as a quarterback a lot easier, and your job as a coach a lot easier.
Yeah.
Just get him in space, get him the ball, and even if he doesn't have space, if he has an inch of space,
Mhm.
throw it up there and let him play plays. Players make plays.
For
That's
sure.
you know.
Yeah. As well as I look at him as another option. K Stover. K Stover did incredible this past Saturday. I mean, he made plays because if you think about it, going into this game, especially with a defense like Penn State, Marvin Harrison was going to be doubled. Point blank
For
period.
sure,
Marvin Harrison
for
was going to be
sure.
doubled. They were going to do everything in their power to shut Maserati Marv down. So with Kay Stover being that second option for Kyle McCord, that made the gameplay even more fun to watch. And I mean, that playbook just opened up, and it made. I mean, it's every offensive coordinator's dream when you can have a line of studs at wideout as well as if you have a receiving running back as well. That just makes every
Right,
offensive coordinator just drool. You know what I'm saying? So
right. That's facts.
yeah, it was great. And I mean Drew Aller from Penn State. Let me tell you something. This kid is 19 years old. And I mean, if you see a picture of him, you would think this kid was way younger because it took me by surprise when I was, kind of doing some research on him.
Right.
Drew Aller has a I mean legit career in front of him. Like this man can do some incredible things for Penn State. Now, granted, there's some there probably needs to have there probably needs to be some conversations had regarding James Franklin, the head coach for Penn State. Those Big Ten numbers aren't looking too hot. And think about it. James Franklin has been in Penn State since 2014, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct. I mean, if I'm correct, he's like 1-10, maybe 1-11 against Ohio State, like 1-9 against Michigan, one in one in something against top 10, and I think one in something else against top 5. If he can't
Well,
make
go ahead. Good.
if he can't make it out of those big games like that, I really truly think his future could be limited. Now, granted, I know that there's still he might be in a contract where he still has a few more years left, and things can turn around. Not taking anything away from this Penn State team, they're ranked number 7 for a reason. Or if I'm correct, they may have dropped because of the loss. But as of Saturday, they were number 7. So they are ranked for a reason. They have
Well,
they have the players in the playset to do so. You know?
for sure, for sure. So I, to your point of him being there for a while and not, beating Penn State. No, I'm not beating Ohio State and not beating
Yeah.
Michigan like that. And not beating them consistently. The last few years, Michigan has been solid, very
Yeah.
solid. And the last few years, of course, Ohio State's been solid. So you have programs like those two that
Mhm.
are like, I put them in the category as the Georgias and the Bamas because they always in that conversation of the playoffs. Um, but you go against those type of teams, that's a luxury to beat them.
Yeah.
It's hard to consistently beat a team
Yeah.
that is that deep. Because don't get me wrong, Penn State is great and they've been good the last few years, but Ohio State has just had more studs. So it's like I don't because he's not a bad coach because he's won some big games. You
Mhm.
know, maybe not with the top with top ranked opponents and stuff like that, but that it takes a while to get that to get that portion back right. Because Penn State back in the day, beast. Like, what I'm saying? They have a very historic, you know, run. They have a lot of historic runs, but um I think he's gonna be all right. I think he's gonna be all right. I've seen him play. I've seen the plays, and I've seen. how he coaches. I think he's maybe an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator away from being great, and maybe even a top recruit, a few top recruits from being great, because we all know, and people don't want to say it, maybe they do. A head coach is just the fall guy. Your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator, that is your bread and butter. Like that's like hands down. So you get you a top notch offensive coordinator, top notch defensive coordinator, I think, and you plug you get some pieces in recruitment. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be okay, because I can name several teams like Alabama and Georgia who at one point had mediocre offensive coordinators, and then they were okay. They still had the talent to show themselves up, but when they got those great offensive coordinators, that's when it took them over the hump. That's when they were dominant. That's when they were great. That's when they, you know, you know, when we saw that elite level of play. But when they get offensive coordinators that are just treading water, that's when you say it's question marks. That's when you start to question things. So I think the same thing with Franklin. I think he's a good coach. I think the players get behind him. You know, I think he rattles some feathers a lot. I think he definitely does that. But like I said, I just think he's a couple coordinators and some recruitments away from being there. Because I
Yeah.
mean, with playoffs, and I think he could still get there because the playoffs is expanded. So
Mhm.
you don't have to
Right.
be that top four anymore. So them getting in as a 7 seed or whatever, that could be the time that he does it. So it's like like I go back to my best example of that is Georgia took forever to beat Bama, but they did it when they needed to in the championship game, and that's the one that you're gonna remember. You're not gonna talk about the other ones. You're gonna talk about the one where they beat them in the championship. So with Penn State, it could be more or less the same, you know. So because it can happen, So I think he's gonna be all right. I think it's hard going through that process of not having
Yeah.
those big time wins over those opponents, but got to stay the course. Got to stay the course.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And I I think that it'll come eventually. But if I'm a Penn State fan and I'm a Penn State, grad of sorts, you're just ready. And like we talked about in prior weeks, you're just ready for that big one, that one
right,
that really
getting over that
sets you
hump.
apart
Right,
from
right,
others, right? That gets you over that hump. But from this game, man, I mean, defensive standpoint, it was what you wanted to see out of the Big Ten. I mean, both defenses really came up strong, and really set the tone on both sides. I mean, Penn State's defense made it hard for Ohio State, and Ohio State's defense made it hard for Penn State. And I mean, it
right.
was just it was that deal. I enjoyed everything about this on Saturday, and it just really um made me happy to see
It should
Big
this
Ten
should this
football.
should show you that they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah,
They only lost by a few points. One
yeah,
score.
yeah,
I think it was 8 points if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Was
12
it?
to 20. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So
yeah,
that should show you that they can beat them, but
yeah.
like I said, Ohio State just has a little more playmakers. Like, well, he's
Mm-hmm.
got arguably one of the best receivers in college football. With Marvin Harrison Jr. So
Mm-hmm.
and then if you focus on him, you got the other players. So yeah, that should let
Yeah.
you know right there that you know he can get it done. It's just
Mm.
getting over that hump. You know.
Yeah.
So
I just love, and this is like a little side comment. I just love when along the recruiting trail, Drew Aller is originally from Ohio. Like he grew up an hour and 45 minutes outside of Columbus, and
okay,
so when you see players like that kind of commit to schools like like rival schools like Penn State, it kind of brings a lot more like of a storyline for this
right,
game.
right.
So
Makes it a
I
lot more
mean,
interesting.
Right, you feel me? So that was really, I think that was really a cool moment to come back and play a school that he probably that was once recruiting him heavy, and listen again, like I said, Drew Aller has a future ahead of him. Only 19, and you're playing in big games like that. So kudos to that man, and I really expect to hear and see a lot more from him. But hey, we found you know how we find these gym games that like nobody's really gonna watch, but it has a lot of storylines like we were just talking about behind it. We
Right.
found a high quality MAC conference game. We got some action going on last Saturday.
Ah, I
Toledo,
like what you did there. I like what you
Toledo
did.
in
Got some
Miami of
action going
Ohio.
on. Okay.
Yeah, man, some action. You remember the name Blaine Gabbert, right?
Yeah.
Quarterback. His brother, Brett Gabbert, plays for Miami of Ohio. He's not bad, but he did take a really bad injury last Saturday that where he had to unfortunately be rushed to the hospital. So prayers up for him. And backup quarterback Avion Smith came in for him and kind of finished out the game. Toledo ended up winning this game 21-17. Very close game, but what the storyline that really was on my mind was, dude, both of these teams were 6-1 before Saturday. If I'm not mistaken, Toledo was leading the East Division and Miami of Ohio was leading the West. And
Right.
I mean,
Right.
of
Right.
course, this is a rival game because both teams are in Ohio. So a lot was in this game. I mean, Toledo's quarterback and running back played in high school together.
They said, see, they already got the chemistry.
Man,
You know,
bro,
they already got the chemistry. So they say,
dude,
hey, we finna go on up here. You know, after high school and go ball
bro.
out.
And I mean, you could tell they played so well together, bro. Like, I'm not even joking. They were on like that. I
Right.
mean, you couldn't take anything away from them, and it showed. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting a W. So, also shout out to Rashad Amos, Fayetteville, Georgia native, and I want to say a Sandy Creek graduate. He used to play for South Carolina before he transferred over to Miami of Ohio. So, shout out to him. 55 yards and a touchdown. Actually scored right after they took Brett Gabbert off the field to go to the hospital. So that was
Right.
really
Wow.
huge. So yeah, bro. I mean that game was on 10. The like I the only reason why I would never go to Miami, Ohio for a game, dude, they have those little horns that you hear like at soccer games, and they
Mm-hmm.
were going off all 4 quarters. It was the most annoying thing ever, and
As
I
you
like
should. You know, you gotta have some
no,
type of advantage. You know, they
no,
said they
no.
said they ain't got the pull like these big schools. They got to make some noise some other kind of way.
Nah,
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 I'm just
bro.
saying.
They
I'm
better
just
find
saying.
another way. But you know what? I'll take that back because I also said I would never go to a Mississippi State game because of the cowbells. But we'll see though. But then again, Mississippi State. Anyway, let's talk. Let's talk about something that we promised you guys that we would definitely hit on to this episode, brother. We got some college basketball rankings.
Yes, it's that time of year.
I
It's
we
that time of
listen.
year.
We told y'all we had a lot to unpack this episode, and I mean we do. For one being, so the two teams that played in the national championship last year, which was UConn and San Diego State. San Diego State dropped all the way down to 17, and UConn is at number 6. Kansas, of course, number 1, and Duke being number 2. I'm I'm not really at a loss for words, but I kind of understand. When you lose, when you of course rebuild and lose players and have new guys coming in, it shakes up how people look at that preseason poll. And I'm looking for. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to the college basketball season, but it's very wild to see.
Yeah, you got your blue bloods. That's
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, that's who everybody wants to go with and all of that.
Yep.
You know, that's why March Madness is such a beautiful thing. Cause it's
Mm-hmm.
anybody, like, anybody's game that time.
Yeah.
Regular season it might not be in your favor, but March Madness you lay it all on the line, and that's how you come out with W's and stuff like
Mm.
that. But you know, the Blue Bloods always gonna get the love, especially in the preseason polls.
Oh,
So
100%.
that's not surprising to me. That's not surprising to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest shock of this entire poll would probably be how in the world, and I know FAU was in it last year. FAU shocked a lot of people, and I'm
Right,
glad.
right, right, right.
I was kind of shocked to see that they actually made it back into the poll, especially in the preseason poll. But man, they went on a tear in the tournament last year, and
Yeah,
that
we,
was
we
really
see if
cool.
they gonna live up to the hype this year. Everybody got their
We gonna
number now,
see.
so
We gonna see.
so
But
we
it's
gonna see
just
what they do.
yeah, and it's I think the really cool thing about that transition from football to basketball is how schools that you normally see who make that tear in football, and then when you're transitioning into basketball, it's different schools that you just don't think that will actually be making an impact in the basketball side of things,
Right, right.
like, I mean, bro, Houston, like Creighton, Marquette, you know what I'm saying? FAU, like San
San Diego
Diego
State.
State. Come on, bro. Like it's it's
Bas-
it's
basket.
really
See, basketball to me is more universal.
Mhm,
You can play basketball year round and get
mhm,
good runs, good reps. Like you can play team basketball year round. So whether it's indoor or outdoor, you know, football is a little different. Like you got it's a lot different. You have to it's a certain type of you don't want to if you're not in season, you don't want to play a full game of football like with 11 on 11. You know what I'm saying? You can play it in the summer or whatever, but those reps are not the same as game reps. Basketball, you can get those game reps even if, you're not playing 5 on 5. So if you want to work on one, you get somebody to defend you, you work on your game 1 on 1. If you
mhm,
want to run threes so you can get some looks, on how to pass the ball with people, you can work on that. So you just need, a few other friends. If you want to run fives, you can go to your local LA Fitness or something like that and run fives and get good game reps. It's a lot more ways in my opinion. And I'm a football person in and out.
mhm,
It's a lot more ways that you can grow your game in basketball year round. Like yeah, you can football. You can do 1 on 1s and different things like that, but that's still not quite the same as game reps because you don't
mhm,
have a safety coming down to knock you out. You don't have a linebacker sitting across the middle ready to hit you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a little different. But basketball, you can kind of create you a situation where, hey, I could be taking this shot in the game. You know, they could be playing me like this. So, I think that's why you get more of those smaller schools you know, that sometimes can be more dominant in the March Madness and coming out of nowhere and doing different things because you can practice basketball and get better in your game
mhm,
all the time. So yeah, definitely a good thing to see like smaller schools getting the
mhm.
love and coming out of
Yeah,
nowhere and balling out. Cause I'm
yeah,
tired of seeing the Blue Bloods. I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired of
yeah.
seeing Duke,
And it,
tired of
and
seeing
it,
Kansas,
yeah, yeah. But
Kentucky, all them.
but it also makes. I mean, when you're building those March Madness brackets, it makes it makes it more fun, because you just
Yeah,
never
for
know
sure.
which one of those teams are going to pull off that big upset. Like how San Diego State did. San Diego State made it all the way to the national championship. San Diego State hasn't had really a lot to celebrate in their athletics, honestly. Not that I know of. Now I could be
Except
wrong.
for
And for
Kawhi Leonard.
e- exactly. You know what I'm saying? So what?
Nothing. I nothing. Go ahead.
We'll talk. We'll talk. But no, you're right. Yeah, Kawhi with San Diego State, but that's been years ago. So that was big. I mean, bro, if you think about it, man, it was a lot of coverage that came out of San Diego State when they made it. Like fans
Yeah,
were
and
trying to
see,
rush into
yeah,
their arena,
yeah.
yeah, because they had those watch parties and stuff. So it was
You
huge. And yeah,
but it's exciting
no,
to
no,
see,
what you
like I
say?
said, the smaller schools, it's exciting to see
Mhm.
them get to,
Yeah.
further than people expected because
Mhm.
their fans are the fans you don't usually see. And so everybody rallies around them and they get
Mhm.
excited. And like I said, tired of the blue bloods. So
Yeah.
when a small school gets in there, it's like, thank you. You got somebody that got
Mhm.
heart, that wanna win, that
Yeah.
that you know what I'm saying, and not just at a school that's legendary or whatever. They're trying to make the school legendary.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a simple thing as that, like, you know, San Diego State might not be legendary, but you go to that school, it might be the only school that you can get into, or you could just go there to make your stamp, like you said, like San Diego State. They haven't had much success or hadn't had any big story. The only thing that I remember is Kawhi Leonard. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So and then they were getting buckets last year. So now they on the map. They have a name for themselves even more than what they had before. So
Right.
now say, okay, we got some recruits' attention. So now, because everybody watches March Madness, so you pretty much, you got a recruit that's on the fence or trying to figure out where it's gonna go. You get a small school like that, you say, hey man, look, I want to play for them because they got heart. They want to win. I like their coach. Their coach got a grit to him. Whatever it is, you know, you put yourself in that position to get that attention, because you have that opportunity.
Right.
Football is a little different. You don't get that opportunity as much if you're a smaller school, because uh, like even with Duke, like Duke's football program didn't get the love that Duke's basketball program does. But now that Duke is balling, people are paying attention. So they're not just a basketball school; they're a football school too. You know, and I'm gonna toot my team's horn a little bit. We were a football school, and then we
Yeah.
got Bruce Pearl. In the last few years, we made a few runs or whatever. And like he said, like we became an everything school, So you get that, you get those people in there, you get the right people in the right situations, and that can just take your team to a whole nother level. So with basketball, I think the small schools can
Mhm.
do some crazy
Yeah.
things. You never
No,
know who's gonna
agreed.
win it. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I love about
agreed.
it.
Agreed. And I mean, both of us being from Georgia, Kennesaw State even made a lot of noise. Unfortunately, they got knocked out in the first round or so. But that
But
was
the
a
fact
huge
that they
thing.
made it, the fact
Right.
that they
And
made it,
and you
you know,
yeah, and I mean when schools from, the metro Atlanta area or even outside of it, when they make it into the tournament, it's a big thing because you don't really see a lot of schools from Georgia make it in. When Georgia State made it in, or if I think it was just Kennesaw and Georgia State, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I could be wrong, but yeah, when those like even because the big thing with Ron Hunter and his son, um when they him falling off of the wheelchair, it was one of those Cinderella stories that you just really enjoy seeing. So that was
right,
really
right,
cool. And
right,
yeah,
right.
I'm
I mean,
excited. I'm
me
I
too,
know
me
I've
too,
been saying I'm not excited, but I'm excited for college basketball season.
man. Move. I'm ready for college basketball, but what I'm really ready for is this women's college basketball. Angel Reese,
Yeah,
South Carolina, you know,
yeah.
Flage. I want to see everybody. I want to see
Mm-hmm.
everybody ball out. You know what I'm saying? I want to
Yeah,
see what they do. You know, even
yeah.
with Iowa. You know, I want to see how Iowa does, how they respond
Don't
after
don't
losing last
don't
year.
don't tempt me
You
because you
know.
know I can't pronounce it. Iowa.
Oh well,
I
that's why I went on and got it out the way for
thank
you.
you. I
You know.
appreciate it.
But yeah,
Iowa,
like I'm
Iowa.
really ready for the women's basketball because women's
Yeah.
basketball to me I've been around some great women that are
Mm-hmm.
hoopers, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I like the fact that Angel Reese brought that grit back to women's basketball, the talking trash, the standing over your opponent after you get done banging in the paint, and then flexing on them and bringing that swag back to basketball because I think that's what really makes basketball outside of it being a beautiful sport. That's really what makes basketball so much fun. Like the you get in the lane and you get a big bucket on somebody, or you back them down, or you want to see that grit and that fun, that passion for the game. Because jokers do it in the NBA. I mean, jokers do it in college basketball with the men's. They do it in
Mm-hmm.
football. Like why can't you do it in women? So I think I love the fact that we have more eyes on women's basketball, and we should continue
Yeah.
to get more eyes on it and pay these girls about their ball, man, in the WNBA when they get to that level.
Yeah.
Or you ain't gonna have
Yeah.
nothing. Cause
Right.
Angel Reese is definitely balling on and off the court because she just signed with Reebok. She's the first
Yeah.
first athlete with Reebok under Allen Iverson and Shaq. So shout out to
Mm-hmm.
her as well with that. But that lets you know, like women's basketball is coming up. It's coming back. You
Yeah, I
know,
agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, this past championship was, I think, one of the most watched
most
national
no,
championships
it
of all
it
time.
was the
So
most
people,
watched.
yeah, yeah, people are taking notice, and I mean, it's a great thing to witness. Just seeing these young women just really take over the athletic world by storm. I mean,
Right,
the transfer portal was going
right.
absolutely insane this past year with Haley Van Lith transferring from Louisville over to LSU to join Flage and Angel Reese. And I mean, she just adds such a great component to an
Right.
already powerhouse of a team. And I mean, I know
Yeah,
that they're very happy to have her along, and
for sure.
and I'm
They're
excited.
building a
I'm excited to
culture at
see what.
LSU, man.
Yeah,
They have a
yeah,
culture there now. I think
hmm
with LSU, I think the coaching staff there allows their girls to be themselves. Is what
hmm
I like. Just be you. Don't overdo it and mess us up and all of that. But be you, be you. And I'm gonna be right there with you. And that's why I rock with that. Even with South Carolina. They have a culture there now
yeah,
too. So I like the fact that we're hearing about the transfer
yeah,
portal in women's basketball. In
hmm
in women's college basketball, we're hearing about the transfer portal. It's not
right,
just like it's not just talking about it with football and men's basketball. We're actually we're actually getting posts now about girls transferring to different places. Like
yeah,
that wasn't
yeah,
happening before, and I think it's big for
hmm
women's basketball. I think it's gonna press the issue, and
yeah,
people are gonna start saying, "Hey, let's pay these girls. Let's get more money in their pocket." Because for you to take a sport, that's male dominated, and then you go and you have more views for your championship game than the men's. I'm not
yeah.
even gonna lie. I was like, okay, the girls played, they're good or whatever, and after that, when the men played, I was like, okay, this is not as entertaining.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but I like that. I'm glad that it has an energy now.
Mm. And I
So
and I honestly will go ahead and put myself out here, but I had the opportunity to go to Auburn's women's game last season, and they played. I want to say it was University of Louisiana Monroe, and man, that Auburn squad that they had that previous year, this past season was off the chain. I mean, those girls could hoop. Those girls could play some basketball, man. And Coach Johnny Harris, I mean, she had them just she had them literally. I don't think I've ever seen a more pretty jump shot in my life than what I've seen from Auburn's women's basketball.
Hey,
Like those girls could
fundamentals,
hoop. Yeah, yeah,
fundamentals,
yeah,
fundamentals, and
yeah.
players
They
make
they were
plays
they were
still.
on point. Yeah.
So I'm excited for the women's college basketball. I
Yeah,
think the
I
rankings are
am.
pretty straightforward. I think I don't have any you know
Yeah, well,
remarks
I
about that.
will say this. Let's not count South Carolina out. They're ranked
Oh no
six.
no 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 no.
Yeah, let's not
I
let's
don't.
let's not.
No,
Yeah,
no, no. I think
they
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 lost
lost a
big
lot of
pieces.
people. Right, they
So
lost a
so
lot of big pieces. Yes.
that's why I say I don't have any anything negative to say about it because they
Hmm.
lost pieces. So we still don't know what this team is gonna look like. Like
Right,
LSU,
right.
we kind of know what we're gonna get, but we looking for more because they've added pieces. They lost
Exactly.
pieces, but they added pieces, and they still have that
Yeah.
core of Flage and Angel Reese. So
But
you know.
I would love, and I mean, bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I would love to hear Kim Mulkey's just recruiting pitch for her to pull in,
To be honest, I mean, to be
bro.
honest
She
with you,
she she
her
literally
track
just
record speaks for itself.
well, exactly, agree. But man, I mean, Haley just played LSU, if I'm not mistaken, in the tournament.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. She plays like she is a part of that team anyway, with the same
Yeah,
passion. Like I mean,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, because you can have a certain level of like, for instance, like I mean, not I know this college college, but I'm going to the NBA so I can show you what I mean.
Hmm.
For instance, Marcus Smart being traded to Memphis. Yes, he is a Boston Celtic for all
Yeah.
these years, but you
Hmm.
can't tell me that he don't play with that Memphis grit, right? So it's
Hmm.
a good fit. So same thing, you know, she already played like she had that energy that
Hmm.
LSU did with the trash talking, with the in your face, like what's up, like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, with the with the scoring ability, So it won't surprise me if they jail fast because you know all of their games are a little bit different, but they have that same passion and they show it
Hmm.
on the court. So that translates, you know. So like I said, I don't think she has to pitch much. I mean, it might be as simple as look, you come here, you be yourself, we're gonna win these championship.
Yeah.
You know, because she's done great things in the short amount of time she's been to LSU. She's done some great things and brought them the championship.
She
So
said if she said in her introduction meeting when she first got the job at LSU, she pointed up to the rafters in the arena and said, "It's not enough of these." And she was talking about championship banners. It's not enough of these.
right,
We're
right,
gonna bring one back to LSU, and she was
right.
right. She was right.
And to me, when a coach does that, you
Hmm.
know, that to me will make me want to play for him because that means
Hmm.
that there's a certain level of belief she has in herself.
Yeah.
Then there's a type of energy that she has toward her team. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So if she believes in herself that much, she's a coach. She's already proven. Just imagine how she's gonna push her team, and she's
Yeah.
letting you be free. Every hooper I know, they just want to be free to play like themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like Steph Curry is free to play like himself,
Hmm.
and it works perfect. Clay, same thing. So at the collegiate level, when you have a coach telling you, look, you come here, you be yourself, you know, and we gonna get this thing done, you know.
Yeah.
That to me in itself, as simple as it sounds, that pitch right there to a hooper, that's their dream. You mean to tell me
Yeah.
if I'm a 3-ball shooter, I'm gonna be myself and I got the green light? Cool. You mean to tell me I got all this personality in the paint and I don't play like everybody else? And I can do that and that's okay with you?
Mhm.
Cool. So, you know what I'm saying, Fly J,
Yeah.
I'm a rapper, I can still rap and play for you?
Yeah.
What, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, to me, it's as simple as that. I would love to hear her pitch as well, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes it's just as simple as it's cutting
Well, and I
dries.
mean, and I if you're a coach, you can pretty much tell who's gonna ball or who's not because excuse me, Kim Mulkey was a baller in her years when she
Right.
was playing.
Players make
Kim Mulkey
plays
was
and
a
players
was
no
a dog.
players.
Kim
Right.
Mulkey was a dog, bro. And so yeah, I can definitely agree with that. So yeah, because Kim Mulkey is hilarious. I mean, just seeing some of the people who
Shit.
cover in the in Louisiana, they sometimes go, to LSU and get some sound bites from the team and stuff like that. I think one guy even caught them getting on the bus before they had a away game, and she's just sitting there singing and whatnot. And I mean, she's gonna be herself. So I think it's great
Right.
that you can allow your players to be
Right.
themselves as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's
When
that's
you got
that's
she full of
yeah,
personality, let's look at how she dresses every game. She never disappoints. I don't know whether you tuning
yeah.
in to watch basketball or seeing what pantsuit she gonna have on today.
Let's not take anything away from Don Staley. Don Staley be dripped out too,
Don't oh
bro. Come on now.
don't get me wrong. I'm not
Don
saying I
Staley
didn't
be
say she
dripped
was
out,
big.
bro. I mean, dripped out.
Don Staley, you know, she is for the culture. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
She definitely knows how to put it on. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Whether
Miss put
sometimes
it
she
on.
hits you with the casual, sometimes she hits you with the I'm in your face with it. And
Yeah,
don't let her NFL team be playing and she gonna rock the jersey. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So I'm not. There's some good dress. There's some good dress
Right,
coaches out there.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
But
exactly.
you can't lie. Them pantsuits be,
Oh,
bruh,
100%.
bruh.
Oh, listen. I ain't gonna lie. I love a good pantsuit, man, because them things be, hey, I be like, man, listen here, man, listen here, hey,
What's that? I
that
love
day,
them to pants.
hey, hey, is that velvet? Is that velvet?
What is that velvet?
But yeah, man. But listen, you know how we get. We can sit here and talk about
Yeah,
these phenomenal women for all night. But let's talk about something that really truly needs to be addressed, and that's this man Caleb Williams, Heisman numbers right now, man. It's not looking too hot. Actually,
yeah,
he and my boy Michael have dropped, bro, and I'm not too happy about it. But JJ McCarthy, quarterback from Michigan, have went up. They played against Little Brother this past week, Michigan State, and pretty much blew them. Not even pretty much, they destroyed them 49-0, and
yeah.
he went
Well,
insane, 21 for
well,
27 with 287 yards. So
he,
yeah.
you know, I always said, like I said at the beginning, I said, like
Mhm.
even with Penix, I said, look, it's cool right now, but you have to maintain that the entire season.
Right.
Like, so Caleb Williams, thing with him, he's great. He's a great quarterback. I think he's gonna
Mhm.
be, even better at the next level whenever he decides to leave college. But when you have to, when you have a defense that lets up a lot of points,
Mhm.
you put pressure on yourself to make a play. Whether that's forcing it, whether that's just trying to see something that's not there, whether it's just you having an off night because you know nothing's available because that defense that night is doing great, but your defense is not. So I think he's doing. He's good. I just think that he's trying to force it. Like he don't look like the Caleb Williams we normally would see.
Hmm.
He did early on, but now people are starting to see. I'm gonna be real. When I started seeing people pick up on the things that he does, was after Colorado when they coming back. I think that game not completely exposed him, but that game in particular showed a lot of his weaknesses because I think Colorado figured something out in that game. It just was too late. They had already ran their scores up, but they
Hmm.
figured something out in that game, and I think other teams may watch that film or whatever. They say, "Oh, well, this is this is that, this is that, this is his tendency. This is what we see that USC likes to run on offense."
Hmm.
Because if we could stop their offense, we pretty much won the game because their defense is not going to stop us.
Right.
So I think with him, I just think that, like I said, it's a product of also his defense not being, up to par. Because if team is scoring 30-40 on you, that means you have to score 30-40.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure to put on a quarterback or anybody in general. When you have to put up 40, you know what I'm saying? It used to just be enough for you to just score. Now you have to put up 40 points in order to win because USC's defense is gonna let up 40 points. So
Hmm.
I think he's gonna be all right. I mean, let's be real. His stats from last year was through the roof. So it's hard to match that for 2 years straight. Because now people have, not only do they have film on you, they want to be the one to knock you down because you're the best college player in college football since you won Heisman. So now you have to play with a chip on your shoulder. Now people know your tendencies. So, you know, early on it was okay, but now you see people are starting to see what he's capable of. And so I think as an offensive coordinator, you have to scheme different. You have to
Hmm.
change the things that you do. Keep the things that you're great at, but also throw some wrinkles in there to make it easier for your quarterback, make it easier for
Yeah.
your line. And defensive coordinator, goddamn, make a stop. I mean, so that's how
Yeah.
I feel about him. And Michael Penix, I just think that he came out the gate, nobody knew who he was, and again, people are starting to take notice.
Yeah.
And then of
Well,
course Michigan, they all across the board have some big things going on. So
yeah, yeah. Well, Michael Penix struggled on Saturday, and I will say that. I know we pretty much threw our chips in on him early, but
yeah.
we like any team, you're gonna have that struggle, and he struggled against Arizona State this past Saturday. They won. The final score was 15-7.
Yeah, he
And
threw 3 picks. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
two, two, two.
Oh,
Give my
okay.
boy some grace. Two.
Hey
But
man, ain't no grace. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
but no, you're right though. I mean, he obviously wasn't himself because this man normally throws for 400 some yards. He only went for 275.
But
So
yeah,
I
like I
mean,
say,
yeah,
people
and
adjust.
it happens. It happens. It happens. But one quarterback who's really been underrated, and you definitely got to give him his props. Jaden Daniels' stock has went up in this Heisman race.
Well,
LSU.
as it should,
Yeah. Yeah.
because look at the competition he's playing against and the
Hmm.
numbers he's putting up
Yeah.
with a defense that's mediocre at best. You
Hmm.
know, so I mean, I'm not trying to take nothing away, but their defense plays like poo when they're playing when they're playing a top ranked opponent. They don't
Hmm.
play as great. Now when they're
Yeah.
playing like a not ranked opponent, or they
Army.
playing somebody better that they're better than that they're supposed to be,
Army.
you know what I'm saying, they play like they just,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
figured out we know how to play defense. But let them
Hmm.
play a top ranked opponent, or somebody with
Army.
a good. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But yeah, you're right. But no,
You
the
know,
stats that he put up against Army this past week, he was. I hate to say it, he was supposed to do that. Like the man
right,
only threw
right.
11. The man only threw 15 times and went for 279. But that's
Yeah, so
because
that lets you
Army.
know that
Yeah, you know.
somebody was grabbing jersey at some point. he
I mean, you
So I
kind of,
mean, like I said, he is proof. Like I mean, I knew it last year. Last
yeah.
year he showed flashes of it. It was just they showed it a little bit too late, you know. And then don't get me wrong, they still were able to make the playoff. I mean, not the playoffs, but make the SEC championship.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yep.
and they were able to beat Bama. But the flashes that he showed last year, I even was like in the beginning, I'm like, okay, Ohio State, that's gonna be a cakewalk.
Mm,
But after the second half of the season, like I told you before, I said teams usually find their identity fifth, sixth game of the season,
right.
sometimes even the seventh. So when they found that identity last year, they I was like, okay, they could be special. And then when he announced he was coming back, I said, okay,
Mm,
cool. Um and it started off a little shaky against Florida State and everything like that with the big hit he took and all of that type of stuff. But again, fifth, sixth game, they start figuring things out. Say, okay, well, we can't. I know who my go-to guy is now. I know who this is now. We gonna have to. I'm gonna have to use my legs more. I'm gonna have to do this. So I think he just figured it out, and I think he's
yeah.
playing more free now. I think he's
Hmm.
playing more free and more with more command of the offense. But
Yeah.
he rightfully so deserves that. Deserves
Yeah.
to
Agreed.
at
Agreed.
least be
Agreed.
considered. You know.
Agreed. Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. Well, I listen. Hey, we always find a middle line, and you're right, and I agree, and I think he's definitely gonna continue to be on that tear for to round out the rest of the year. But man, let's go ahead and hit on this last topic, and I know it's a topic that every Michigan. I mean, I'm sorry, just kind of gave a hint at it, but this is any Ohio State's dream right now. Michigan is literally at the center of an investigation right now. Well, or a pending investigation, if you want to say, however you want to put it. Them boys in trouble, basically. They have now been under investigation because a Michigan staffer has purchased tickets and went around 11 different Big Ten schools as a way to sign steal and cheat.
wait,
Now, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. The said staffer not only went to these schools, but purchased the tickets in his name.
well,
Also,
that let me know that he. Okay, you got more. Okay.
also, sources have confirmed to ESPN that said Stafford purchased tickets on both sides of the stadium across from each bench from this past Saturday's Ohio State game versus Penn State on Saturday. Michigan
So
plays both teams in a few weeks.
well, okay. So my question is, okay. So you're not allowed to go watch another team play at all.
And you know what? And I was okay, so hear me out. I'm thinking the same way you are because how I
So
look at it is you know, bro, like we're again, we're both from Georgia. We're both from Metro Atlanta. When we had like rival, teams that were playing and stuff like that, yeah, you would have a coach that would go check out the school that they were going to play against, just scouting, this, that, and the third. But I don't ever think it was of a magnitude of, stealing signs or
but how do
going
we know
into
that that's what he was doing if he just went he watched the game?
well, apparently it's more so of now they're about to the NCAA is about to receive video evidence of him doing that. of the guy of the said
So,
staffer.
okay, so how? So I'm anxious to see the video evidence because how would he?
Yeah,
How would
yeah,
anybody know from video evidence that he
I
was
agree.
stealing signs? Because if
Well,
I'm a coach
okay,
or if
now.
I'm a staffer and I'm going to scout a team and I'm
Mhm.
watching them trying to find their tendencies, I'm watching the game, and if I see their signals, that's their signals. I mean, cause okay, so yeah, this baffles me because I'm trying to
Right.
understand
Well,
how
reading
it
reading
works
more
because
re,
but
reading more into this article, a Big Ten school looked up in the in stadium surveillance video from a game earlier this year and said the person in the seat of the ticket purchase by said staffer held his smartphone up and appeared to film the home team sideline the entire game.
oh okay, so okay. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense then. Okay. Well then
Yes.
that I can see.
Right.
That I can see.
But
Okay.
again, we see, team I mean coaches that'll come to these games and stuff and just, just scout. But another thought that I had was, and again, let me also put this out there. Coach Jim Harbaugh denied all of this when it came out, but they ended up suspending that staff member. They just suspended him. But if I'm a coach, don't you think that I would change up my signs or something, prior to that game, or change it,
Well,
by
yeah,
week?
yeah. I mean, of course they're gonna do that, but that's a very difficult because you've
Yeah,
taught
yeah.
these signs, you know.
Hmm.
But I mean, the thing that they would do now, I would imagine, if they play in Michigan, instead of throwing the signs out, they would give the quarterback the play for him to come back to the sideline like you do in high school. You know, you go
Yeah.
back over there, you get the play, you tell you the number. Okay, cool. This is what we running. I mean,
Hmm.
but but let's be real. Like, I mean, okay, like I see with the picture thing. Okay, I can see why that would be a red flag. But if I'm watching film, because I watch a lot of football, you watch a lot of football.
Hmm.
If I'm really paying attention, if you hold a sign up, with the certain, because they have the cardboard. I mean, not the cardboard sign, but the big signs of different photos or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's the set that they're running, right? That's the play that they're
Hmm.
running or whatever. If I'm really watching it, I can really pick up on that set. You know, I can look at that sign and say, "Oh, when he throws that up, they're in this, and this is what they run." You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So that would be the same thing. And if I'm a fan at home that's doing it, then I know for a fact that
Right.
other teams are doing it. But I think the where he may have messed up at is the phone part. Now that makes sense because now you're taking pictures of it. It's one
Yeah.
thing to memorize it and then whatever, because there's no way
Yeah.
you
And
can
take
really
it
prove
back.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's kind of crazy. And Jim Harbaugh, of course, he's gonna deny it, even if it's true or not. Why would
Right.
you say
Yeah.
if he
My
was to
my
come
my
out?
staff
If
member.
he would have said, "Yeah, I know, bro, you didn't sign career suicide." Like, why would you
Exactly.
even? You know what I'm saying?
But and you
Maintain
and
your innocence until they can prove it. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's very. I mean, the said staffer literally brought. I mean, he brought premium seating, like to sit across from each home. Each
well,
team.
yeah, like if
Yeah,
they
you know what
have
I'm
the,
saying.
like I
He's
said,
sitting across from each side, so he's sitting in front of he. The way I'm seeing it is him and another person went. One person sat on one side, he sat on that other side. You're able to get video evidence from one team side right in front of where the coordinators are literally signaling for the play, and then he's sitting on the other side, and he
well,
can see that other team signaling the play. So he's sitting right in front of these offensive coordinators or the signal callers, because all these different teams now have different ways of signaling their plays.
right.
You
So
got the
I'm,
guys
I'm,
that are
I'm just
wearing the
trying to
Alvin and the
figure out.
Chipmunk shirts
I'm,
with
I'm,
all these colors and stuff. So.
I'm just trying to figure out. Even if he brought his phone out,
Mhm.
how can you prove that he was recording that in particular? unless you get
Well,
his phone records and pull his pictures.
and I think that's what's about to happen. I think
Cause
that's what's
he
about
could
to
he could
happen.
have been shoot he could have been taking a selfie for all we know. I'm just being
Well,
honest. I mean,
again, you're no, you're and you. I mean, again, you're not
I'm
wrong, but
not like
also
I said, I'm not trying to say that he did it. I'm not
he
trying to
did
say he
it
did it.
right.
But the way my mind works is you don't
It's
know
interesting.
until you know.
It's
You know what I'm
interesting.
saying? Cause I
Yeah.
didn't even think like you could do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I can steal your like your hand signs or whatever,
Mhm.
but everyone, cause I
Hey,
know you, cause I know you don't run every play in your playbook.
right,
So
right.
for you to be able to do that or whatever, that means that I have to run those same plays next game. So if I got
Hmm.
250 plays, you know what I'm saying? I have to. You telling me that all the ones I'm running is my first 50,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna run that against Ohio State because to my understanding, my knowledge is that you scheme for different teams. You game plan
Right,
differently for different teams. So if I'm playing goddamn Ohio State, I'm not gonna prep for them or run the same plays for them as I
right.
would with Miami of Ohio.
I, me and you think the
I'm just
same.
being real.
We're thinking
I
the
don't
same,
know.
but listen, it's still under investigation. We'll try to get more information as it comes out. But yeah, we're on the same page. Listen, you know me and you can literally sit here and be conspiracy theorists all
Yeah,
night.
man. Yeah,
But we
man.
gotta wrap because these folks ready to go home. But before we close out, I just want to say one thing real quick. I celebrated a birthday this past Sunday, and I just wanted to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Each and every one of y'all that reached out, and just showed love. I listen. I cannot thank you enough. This was a very special birthday. It was my quarter century mark, 25, and
But you
I
getting
thank
old.
you.
You getting
Gosh,
old.
man, don't listen. You and everyone else has said the same thing, and I can't accept it just yet because I'm not ready to. But I kind of I'm getting to that point now of accepting it. But no, thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. It truly means the world to me for y'all to have show love, text, called, Facebook message. I greatly appreciate it, and it means the world to me to have gotten a chance to hear from you guys. Some people I haven't even talked to in a few years or so. So it really meant a lot to have had that. But yeah, man, hey, close us out, man. We ready to go home, man. Talk to me.
All right, man. Shoot, we got bills to pay, man. Hey, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hey, comment, like, share, tell your friend, tell your girlfriend, tell your wife, your husband, whatever. Hey, College Couch, man. We appreciate y'all for everything. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But like I said, we got bills to pay. We'll holler at you, man. Uh, wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, I gotta.